Hey, it's me. It's animated me. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and it's time for another episode of Completed It. Movie reviews, pop culture, celebrity guests, and all that good stuff. Oh, and my good friend over there, Sasha Alari, that's my co-host. Hey, Satch, hit the titles, brother. Hey everybody, welcome back to Completed It. Yes, you guessed it, another episode of Completed It. I'm your host, Andy Burrows, and yes, as you can see on our screens is my illustrious co-host and one of my longest friends in the entire wide world, Mr. Sash Olari. Sash, how are you, brother?
Yeah, not bad, man. Not bad. Just surviving, I guess, as they say.
Oh, well, always nice to know that you're surviving, my friend. Dude, we have done many episodes so far talking DC, Marvel, Star Wars. We've done some great interviews. One show we haven't done yet is about a character, someone who plays a huge role in the MCU universe, who I know you absolutely loved. One of my favorite characters.
The best
We
one.
are we are the best one. That is a shout, which we will get to. We
No,
are
no,
here
no.
to talk.
It's hands down the truth. I'll argue any man's.
Okay, okay. Well, we are here to talk all things Spider-Man.
Hey,
We are here to talk Spider-Man on this episode of Completed It. This Completed It pod can be found on YouTube. I always do this at the end. I'm going to do it at the start. Go onto YouTube, type in Completed It pod, Completed It podcast. You will find myself, Satch, and Neil, and Lee, and everyone else who joins us for reviews and chat. You can also find us on Twitter at Completed It pod. I think that's the housekeeping done, Satch. Let's get on with the episode. Spider-Man, my friend. We are set to get a new Spider-Man movie, July 21st, 2026. Spider-Man, brand new day. Sash, is this going to be a completely, I'm not going to use the word reboot because, that's a word we try not to like too much on this show. Obviously, all the Supermans up till now, far from home and everything's home. And this is brand new day. Are you as excited for the Spider-Man movie as, say, Avengers Doomsday, which ultimately comes out on May 1st, 2026? So I think we're going to have the Avengers movie, and the next movie after the Avengers is going to be Spider-Man Brand New Day. Sash, are you super excited to see what the webbed one brings us to the big screen in 2026?
of course, man. It's Tom Holland. I think they've done a really good job with those films. The MCU interpretation. I'm excited for it. This one's sandwiched in between Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's going to be very interesting. Um, we'll see what who's directing it. So it's a new director, Destin Daniel Cretton. Cretton. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Don't
He
ask me,
also
bro.
did
I'm dyslexic.
Shang-Chi.
I like
Sh
that movie.
yeah, he also did Shang-Chi, which was okay, I felt. But yeah, he's now doing Spider-Man, which is interesting. I thought they were going to go get a brand new director, because Marvel are very good at getting brand new directors
Hmm.
that, haven't really, that are breaking out. Or I thought they were going to be honest, I was kind of confident they were going to go with Sam Raimi, to be honest. Because I think that would have been a big, massive, like, news buzz, like OG director come back to
Hmm.
continue with this shit. But they've clearly got him working on Doctor Strange, the new one, because they announced that. So, I'm kind of so I've got some friends that work in industry, and like I'm hearing Sam Raimi's there, so I'm like, is he doing Doctor Strange? Are they filming Doctor Strange there? I don't know, but
Hmm.
we'll have to see because he's clearly not directing Avengers or Spider-Man. So,
No,
you
no,
know what I
no.
mean? And like, when is this Doctor Strange movie coming? I don't know, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But yeah, yeah, I'm
Ex-
looking forward to it. I've liked all three of the MCU Spider-Man movies. There's been no dip. The last one, I think, brought people together like on some next level because obviously they
Multiverse,
linked
yeah.
the multiverse thing.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland,
Yeah,
all in the same movie.
Yeah,
Good to see it
I
again.
think this might have some multiverse shenanigans because it's in between the two big Avengers movies.
Mm,
So I wonder what they're gonna do with that. The fact that it's called Brand New Day, kind of intrigues me though, because if you've read Spider-Man in any kind of capacity, um, that's kind of a big buzzword, that title alone, because that was a thing in the comic books. Brand New Day was when obviously there was the story arc where the whole world found out who Peter Parker was, and
hmm
then you had the repercussions of that, and then in the comic, Aunt May dies because I can't remember who kills Aunt May. Someone in the comments correct me. I'm not going to name a name, but I know she dies. And, in the comics, Spider-Man makes a deal with the devil from Ghost Rider.
hmm
Is it Sinstro? I'm butchering names, but he makes a deal with the devil, and then he wakes up the next day, and it's like 5 years in comic book years, it's 5 years ago, but in in the story, it's 5 years before. But if you read comics, it was more like, I don't know, 25 years before because of how
Oh,
many
dude.
comic books there were.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But
If you
like,
read the comics, geez,
but
you
like
could
he, but
untold amount of
he
stories you
wakes
could
up
do.
and obviously it's a different universe. It's like he's still with Mary Jane, Harry's still alive, all of this shit, and it's like, what the fuck's going on?
I
Kind of
think
thing.
that's
He's a
why I
man at a
loved. I think
time.
that's why I loved multiverse so much.
So
Spider-Man into the
they
multiverse. I think that's why I love that so much.
so I think there's gonna be some clear shenanigans thing going on there with that. I don't know, that's probably not how it's going to go down. They're probably going to take elements off that because obviously, if you think about Spider-Man now, Aunt May is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, like when he wakes up again, Aunt May's alive again. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, does she come back at the end of the movie? Is that a possibility because of multiverse shenanigans? Like, we can all take Uncle Ben dying, but like, don't you
And be
kill her.
killing Aunt
Don't
May.
you
Yeah.
can't be killing Aunt May, bro. Come
Give
on.
us something to
Yeah,
hang on to. Do you
dude.
think, Sash? With the whole MCU and stuff, it's very centered around obviously the Avengers. So
Yeah, yeah.
and your primal characters in that, you've got Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk. Flipping it to Spider-Man, do you think that the Spider-Man franchise and the Spider-Man character, for all as much as we love it, and for me it's up there in my top three of
Yeah.
like characters I like. When you look at DC, you kind of got the Justice League and you got Superman, you got Batman. Does Spider-Man, no pun intended here, sling under the radar in the
Nah.
MCU because of things like Iron Man, Captain
No,
America? Yeah,
no, not at all. Spider-Man is Marvel.
hmm.
When people think of Marvel, they think fucking Spider-Man straight away. I mean, fuck in the 80s, he was the
I
guy on
think
the
people of a
logo.
certain age do. I think people of a new age think
Nah,
Avengers.
it's
My
still
opinion.
Spider-Man. It's
Hmm.
still Spider-Man.
To
Who was
me
the
and you, it
first
is
out who was the first out of gate with the movie? Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
When there were Avengers, look, Spider-Man is the most A-list of the A-list of superheroes. Like he's up there easily with Superman and Batman. Easily
I
in
hate
terms of
Batman. Fucking Batman's not
recognition.
even in the fucking discussion.
What?
Just a guy with a belt.
Ah.
Come on, dude. If it all kicked off like a mega ultra fucking fight with every superhero and the Batman's probably the last person I'd call.
Nah, he'd be the first one because he's the brains.
No,
He's the brains. That's the point.
no. Tony Stark's a
He
brain.
has he has the contingencies to the contingencies in
This
it.
that's a
So,
whole nother fucking.
but that's a whole other
Yeah.
conversation. But no,
We've segued already. We've only been
but
going
yeah, no,
5 minutes.
Spider-Man's the guy, man. He's the top dog in Marvel, in my opinion, my personal opinion. Sure, I see where you're coming from because the youngers are
That's all I'm
probably
saying is
like,
like if you
yeah,
look at like the
they're
modern way that the movies have been
yeah, because
portrayed, right?
the kids now, they have it so good.
You
They have
pesky
to
kids
wait.
these days.
They have to wait years for fucking Marvel movies. We had to wait
We didn't
decades.
fucking have Disney Plus. We
Yeah,
didn't have Netflix. We didn't have
yeah,
Amazon. We didn't have none of this.
they've got it all, man. So yeah, I see what you mean. I don't know. I don't know what the kids are saying. Kids not watching this, if you're allowed to, I don't know. I swear a lot. I do apologize to your moms. Send them my way, and they can give me a talking to. Um, but yeah, yeah.
Episode's taken a this
What do you
episode's
guys
taken
think?
a turn.
What do you guys think?
Yeah,
What
what
do
do
you
you
guys think?
think?
Right down below. Is Spider-Man the top G guy, or
I
is
don't.
it
Do you know
Tony
what?
Stark
I
now?
generally
I
don't think in
I
the
think it's
last
Spidey. I think it's Spidey.
dude,
myself.
I agree with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I am
On the
of that
swing.
ilk. I think
That's a good question.
he's one of the
I've never
OGs. I think of
I've
the
never
I
questioned
think of
it.
the modern
Yeah.
era of movie fans. Me and you seem to forget we're getting old, Sash. We're getting old.
I
I
ain't
think in
old.
the modern, sorry, I'm old. I think grey hairs on here. Look. I think in the modern movie fan, it'd be interesting to get people's views. Like you say, if you're watching this, let us know in the comments. Because I think if you grew up in a certain era, you're always going to be Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. They're always going to
Yeah.
be there. I think nowadays, with the content that we're given, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Back when I was a kid, I didn't really know of like I read comics, but I only specifically read like Superman,
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I couldn't have told you much about Doctor Strange or like things like the Falcon and things like the Hulk. I wasn't really into the Hulk as a kid, maybe because we got a crap Hulk movie when we were younger. I
Oh
wasn't
man.
really in
Blasphemy.
I'm sorry, bro. I
Lou
know,
Ferrigno's
yeah, I
like
wasn't a
he's there.
fan, Sash.
Bro.
No.
He was Hulk until Age of Ultron.
Yeah. But
Like
I
he was
wasn't.
doing the voice.
Yeah, I wasn't. So
Yeah.
growing up, I wasn't really. I focused on what I knew as a kid. You just,
Yeah.
it's born into you. So I think now I think the era that we're living in now with like a Disney Plus and with access to everything, and we're going to get to like the spin-offs in a minute. There's a spin-off of absolutely everything, including Spider-Man, which they've made some really
Yeah.
good spin-offs. I think we're now in an era of, that's why I asked the question of people don't see Spider-Man as like the OG, the man.
Wow.
I reckon in the
I've
Marvel
never thought
universe,
about it. I've
I'd
never
love
really
to
thought
put it
about
out
it.
there. Maybe people can
Yeah.
put us in the comments, hit us up on Twitter at Completed It Pod. Do you see Spider-Man as like the OG, or is it Captain America? Is it Iron
Hmm.
Man? Is it, I don't know, anyone else? But yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
I might be wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. But yeah, anyway, so any younger listeners, shall we say? We're making ourselves feel really old here. But yeah, no, look, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland. Have you got a favorite Spider-Man?
They're all great for different reasons. They're all great for different reasons. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't a fan of Garfield's films, but I'm a fan of Garfield. Does that make sense? It's like he looks like how they draw them,
Mm.
how they draw the character, the look, visual look,
Hmm.
like of Peter
But the
Parker.
way he portrays Spider-Man,
Um,
you're not a fan.
no, it's not even the way he portrays it. He does a generally good job for the most part.
Hmm.
My problem with Andrew Garfield are the movies themselves. The
Okay.
movies themselves,
So
not
Andrew
really.
Garfield, mate, what 2012 was his first
Yeah,
venture into the Spider-Man.
I didn't like the reboot for starters, which is why I love the Tom Holland one by not retreading shit.
Why did Toby?
Because
What was the whole reason why Tobey Maguire didn't come back?
there was no reason.
Just
It's a
cast.
case. So basically, it was a case of, you know, they filmed this trilogy. Well, everyone's out of contract. Sam Raimi's out of contract, but Sam Raimi gets first dibs on whether he directs the next installment.
Mm,
So what it was, the studio didn't really want to do a fourth one. And the reason why they didn't want to do a fourth one, even though Spider-Man 3 made more money than God, because it did. It was
hmm.
like, despite how you feel about Spider-Man 3, it made like over 800 million, 870 something million, I think.
Then you
I'm just
fast
saying
forward
that.
to No Way Home and it grossed 1.9 billion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's in today's age. Back
Yeah.
then, 2007, I think it was. That was unheard. $1 billion movies weren't what they were
What do you think's changed so,
now.
just briefly,
But
what do you think's changed so much in the movies that they gross more now? Is it the way that content's presented?
well,
Is it because of Disney, more
it's
money in
IP.
movies?
It's
Yeah.
IP. It's IP. It's IP. It's
Mm,
straight up IP. People are into these characters. They appeal to a lot of generations when done right.
hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's what makes a $1 billion movie. It's only been recently where we've been getting them far and few between like we used to back in the day, because cinemas changed post-COVID. But before COVID, if you look at it, it's all the Harry Potters, it's all the Marvel movies, it's all the Star Warses, or a lot of the Star Wars is, like whatnot. But like back to the original question though about what happened with the Spider-Man 4 situation was that everyone's out of contract. Everyone's out of contract, and Rami wants to do Spider-Man 4, which means the studio have to pay Kirsten Dunst
Hmm.
and Tobey Maguire infinitely more money because they're no longer signed. down to a contract. So they got to try and get them contracted for more films, but at a higher wage bracket.
I got you.
So it's a money thing. And obviously, these Marvel movies weren't out in what they are now, where you got actors signed from about 10 movies or 20
Hmm.
movies or however many movies they do it now. So it was unheard of. So they were like, okay, well, we want to reduce costs, but we're obliged to at least hear Sam Raimi out and at least work with him on making the fourth one happen, regardless.
Mm.
And Rami worked on the script and he wanted to do it a certain way. And then Marvel, which wasn't run by Feige at the time, they were like, "Hey, can you include this?" And he was like, "No." And well, ultimately, Rami was in a position where he could do what he wanted, but at the same time, he didn't want to listen to the studio because he did that with Spider-Man 3. And if you look at Spider-Man 3, he put Venom in there, he fucked it up, and it was going against his instincts. And the reason why it got fucked up is you got to understand, Sam Raimi loves Spider-Man, okay, but he read the comics from the early 50s, late 50s, throughout the 60s, 70s. But come to the 80s, he's a grown adult making Evil Dead movies. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
Venom came out in the 90s, so it's a very,
Yeah, but
different kind of character.
they
He doesn't
fucked up
know,
that Venom.
yeah, he doesn't know the
They
character.
properly fucked up with Venom though. This is
I'll
why
be
I don't
honest with
like
you.
Venom is meant to be Spider-Man's ultimate nemesis.
One of
And
them.
yeah,
One of
but
them.
if you're a fan
Yeah,
of the
one of them.
if you're a
Yeah,
fan of the comic books,
yeah, yeah,
probably up there. He's in the
yeah,
top
yeah,
two or three.
easily.
For me, he's probably Spider-Man's ultimate nemesis, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
every time I watch a fucking Venom movie and they've tried to make it like a carry-on film,
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
pisses me off like no end. I'm thinking this dude is meant to be a badass motherfucker who's
yeah,
meant to just try and rip Spider-Man's head off. And they've made this is why I segue in
yeah.
just slightly. Why I fucking hate the Venom movies because
Oh yeah, yeah. They're
they tried to
trash.
make them all comedy.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I'm not a
he is
fan.
meant to be the ultimate baddie in the
Yeah, yeah,
Spider universe, the Spider-Man's universe, and they've just pissed it up the wall. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to go.
yeah, yeah.
I just had to get off my chest. I'm
But
sorry.
I mean, what was I going to say? With so he wants to do right by Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But then, he kind of realizes, they don't really want him, and also, they don't really want to spend that money. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And he basically asked them, look, if I'm going to crack the script to get it where we can all agree, I need another year. And then they were like, well, we don't want to wait another year. We want to go now. So
Hmm.
you either deliver it quicker. And he was like, you know what? If I can't get the other year, I'm gonna have to walk away from it all.
Yeah, I'm out of
And
it.
he walked away, and that's good because that's good in a way. It's unfortunate if you love those films. I love those films. I was very passionate about them rebooting it. I was like, no, don't do that. You know what I mean? Because you
Hmm.
have a good series of films, you want to kind of carry it on. But but they decided to reboot it, and then we got the two Garfield ones, and they both, the first one it made about 500 million or something like that, but it didn't make.
Yeah,
You got
mate,
to
what was that
understand
Amazing Spider-Man, wasn't
the Toby Maguire one out the gate made 700 million.
it? Mm.
You know what I mean? The second one made 750 or something like that. The third one makes 870 million, right? Almost 900 million. You know what I mean? Amazing Spider-Man makes 500 ballpark figure, and they
Hmm.
spent money on that. So it didn't really make that much of a profit. It just broke even,
Yeah.
and they kind of downplayed how bad it was because it was financially because it wasn't much of a profit for all the execs. So they went full tilt boogie into the second one to try. If you look at the first one, it's a very studio film. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Compared to the Rami ones. The Rami films, when you look at them, it's very his style of filmmaking. Like
Yeah.
when Doc Ock comes, you can see the Evil Dead
Hmm.
references. You know what I mean? In the way
You
like
can
he's
tell the
hoarding
movies that
stuff.
he likes.
Yeah, and you can, there's an edge of horror in there because it has jump scares and shit. And,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? A director with a vision made those movies, right?
Yeah.
For whatever you think of them. Whereas with the Andrew Garfield ones, It was very studio driven. So the studio looked at Spider-Man and were like, what movies are cool now? Well, Dark Knight made fucking money and Batman's dark. So
Oh, Dark
we're
Knight,
gonna
one of the
make
greatest movies ever made.
we're gonna make Spider-Man darker. Because when you look at it, it's a darker movie, man. It's like
But
it's
that's
not
where you
lit
could have
up.
put. That's where Venom could have
Yeah,
been used so much better. He's a dark character. He's meant to
yeah,
be in the fucking darkness. He's meant to come out and be a badass and try and kill Superman. But no, they turn him into some fucking stand-up
yeah.
Mickey
So
Flanagan
so so they
comedian.
made that first Amazing Spider-Man dark and stuff, and then they kind of fucked up the lizard a little bit, and it's it is what it is, but people liked it.
Yeah.
I may not have liked it, but people still liked it, and it got a good word of mouth by other people and stuff. And they made a second one, and the second one, because it's a studio made movie. I know Mark Webb directed them. He did 30 Days of Summer. No, yeah, 30 Days of Summer and other movies since. But he was just someone hired by the studio. He was just doing what he's told. They go a completely different direction. They make it bigger. They have it bright, you know,
Hmm.
like brighter in contrast and stuff. And for the most part, it was a fun movie, but it had way too much shit going on. I mean?
Yeah.
You had so many villains, and it went into that
Sometimes they
trope.
try and give you
Yeah,
too much too quick
yeah,
in these
and they gave
movies,
you
and
they
that one
gave
they
you
definitely did.
Rhino, they gave
Yeah.
you Green Goblin 2, they gave you fucking Jamie Foxx as Electro.
Oh,
They
they
went
fucked that
nuts.
character.
And
Jamie Foxx's character was
they
terrible,
made
by the way.
and the thing is they made how much did they make? I think okay, so they made something like 700 million on it, which at a glance looks amazing, right? However, they spent a lot more. They spent like 200 million on the movie. No, 200, almost 300 million on the movie.
Hmm.
Actually, what was the spend?
Oh God, in my singing part, let me
I
try to
need to
look this
crunch
up.
this. The Amazing
Stay tuned,
Spider-Man
listeners. He will come back.
2 budget. What's the budget? Okay, 230 million.
Mm.
So that's 30 million more than your average film, right? Okay, and now marketing budget. This was the one. Your average film, big giant tentpole blockbuster, it's 100 million in the budget. That film had 7 trailers. Your standard movies have 3,
Hmm.
right?
Don't get me started on trailers. They're annoying me right now.
Okay,
Giving away too much.
200 million. They spent double on marketing for this movie. So overall, they made a ballpark. What's it? It was about four. They've spent about 430 million on this movie to just
Mm.
get 7. And compared to your average movie, that's not enough for the investors. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I get it. I
So,
get it.
you know, so it's yeah. So, they were stuck. They were stuck. They're like, fuck, well, we got to make the third one or whatever. And, they're still drinking the Kool-Aid, but they were like, we got to make the third one, but how do we make it work? But and at the same time, there was a whole thing where the Sony leaks came out, and it really
Mm.
showed they didn't know what they were doing. They were panicking about what they were doing and shit.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening? What ends up happening is, they end up teaming up with Marvel and doing the Tom Holland films.
Hmm.
You know, and obviously MCU have their thing, and it worked. It worked, and they turned it into $1 billion IP.
Yeah.
Why can't the second movie? And here's the thing. Here's how it works with the Spider-Man film. Well, how it used to work. They look like, I think they're on the same page now, but Sony were kind of against them. Okay,
Hmm.
they were kind of against them because they don't want a competitor to. You got to understand. Sony owns Spider-Man outright, and Spider-Man is their biggest IP. It's so that's their biggest grossing movie of all time for the
Mm.
studio.
Why
They're never gonna let Spider-Man back at Marvel. Like Marvel have those movie
Mm.
rights
But
ever.
Sony have come
Yeah,
out recently. I know we're waiting for one more Into the Spider-Verse movie, obviously because they left the second one on a cliffhanger.
yeah.
But I was reading something just before we started recording. I was on the World Wide Web. Sony have said they're gonna after the next Into the Spider-Verse movie, That's it for spin-offs. No more version or
So
Spider-Man
I think
focused
with that,
spin-offs.
I think with that, it's a case of,
Because they
you
tried
know,
Madam Web,
they
didn't
try,
work.
yeah, it flopped. They tried
Full
Craven,
disclosure,
that
I haven't seen it
flopped.
yet. Me and Sasha were talking about it before we started recording.
Yeah, that flopped. And Venom 3 didn't make as much as they thought it would. And
Do you know
that's
why?
yeah, because
Because
the
it was
last,
shit.
yeah, I've not seen it. So,
Fuck it.
um,
Don't waste your time. Don't get
okay.
me started again. Honestly.
So,
But yeah, Sony have come out and said, look, because
yeah,
me and you have spoke many times on this show about spin-offs and what they do, but Sony have come out and said,
yeah,
concentrate on movies only. After the when we eventually get into the Spider-Verse, the third installment, again, it's been delayed. I think it was meant to come out the end of 26. Now saying the middle of 27.
yeah.
Don't know why. Don't know what's going on. Hope we
Probably,
get it.
well, it takes a while to do these animations,
Yeah,
man.
Into the Spider-Verse, by the way, has been some of my favorite things.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
When I say great movies, and a lot of people, I think someone was in our group chat the other day, they were mentioning certain people don't watch the animated stuff, whether it be Star Wars, whether it be etc. etc.
Yeah.
For me, the animated Spider-Man two movies that are out,
Mm.
quite possibly two of the best that the in that whole
Oh, yeah,
MCU like Sony stroke. They're fucking
yeah,
incredible. The second one, whoever done the designs and the visuals for
yeah,
the second one, give them a knighthood right now.
yeah,
It is absolutely. I could just watch that for the visuals alone
yeah.
and the effect, the way it was done, the way it was made. I mean, I never went to see it at the fucking cinema. I wish I had. I've watched it loads of times on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible, Sash. But Sony are saying now, no more spin-offs. They're literally concentrating on brand new day, and then where do we go from there?
Well, I hope they keep the alliance with Marvel, to be quite honest, because it's worked out
Mm.
quite lucrative for them. I mean, the thing is with Sony, with their spin-offs, they never had a plan. They never had a plan.
Is it
I
just a case of what
cut
me and you always say? It's an easy money-making scheme with a spin-off.
look, if they
Look at
wanted to,
Andor with Star Wars,
yeah,
fucking
but I
making
mean, put it this
fucking
way,
millions.
if I was in charge of Sony, like legitimately in charge of Sony, this is what I'd do with Spider-Man. Like right now.
Mm.
I'd be like, you know, like how Marvel do those presentations. They're like, hey, we have a plan. Here's
This
our
is our
roadmap.
yeah. This is our timeline.
Yeah, I'd do this. I'd be like, okay, here's my roadmap. Spider-Man 4 with fucking Tobey Maguire.
Hmm.
Because people want after that multiverse shit, people
What they
want it.
want.
The people want to see those guys come back and shit. So give them what they want. But I
Who's to
have a
say there
plan
won't
with
be a
it.
new? Who's to say there won't be a new day?
Well, they might be, but this is what I would do. This is what I would do personally. I would turn around, I'd turn around to Sam Raimi. I'd be like, look, I'll give you another trilogy. I only ask one thing. At the end of number six, they get married. They get married.
Live happily
That's
ever
it.
after.
Happy ever after. That's the end of your whole saga. Okay. But you get three movies to do it. Why three movies? Because if you're going to bring him back for one, you may as well just
Set something up. Yeah.
yeah, and also give it a
Once you got
bookend. Give
people
it
on the hook,
yeah,
keep them there.
keep them there and make sure that it kind of works. And you know, you can do what you want, but the only caveat is whoever you get as the villain, all right, speak to Marvel because
Mm.
maybe we could have that actor play a different variant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever. You know what I mean?
But
Or
with these
whatever.
movies now, like we're sort
And
obviously
then
we're talking
the
about Spider-Man now. Sorry, go on. I'll
and
give
then
my opinion on it.
the other thing I do, I turn around to fucking Andrew Garfield and I'd
Yo,
be like, Andrew Garfield,
here come. Yeah.
suit up. And then I do like Spider-Man 3, 4, 5. And what I do specifically with Andrew Garfield's one,
You could have so many of
because
them
that
different in different multiverses as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
No.
but with Garfield's one, because they are studio movies, I would actually link them to all the spin-offs. I'd link it to the spin-offs. I'd have Tom Hardy
Interesting.
show up in his version of Spider-Man.
Interesting. Yeah.
I'd have Craven and show up in his version, kind of thing. I've not
Okay.
seen Craven, but I heard Rhino's in it. But I'm sure we could work something out. A creative writer could work something out, maybe. But I would link all those movies to Garfield Spider-Man, but somehow I don't know how, but a good writer figure it out. But the crust is here's the pull. You do that first one, you do that first one or the third one, okay, just to go, hey, look, here's the thing. And what you do, you introduce Miles Morales.
Ooh.
You introduce Miles Morales, and then you've got that mentorship going
I
for the
see
other
how you go. I
movies.
see what you done there.
You see
Yeah.
what? Do you see what I've done
Yeah, I
there?
see what you done there.
Now, by the time you get to Spider-Man 6 with Tobey Maguire
You'll get to
and
the multiverse
and
three.
Amazing Spider-Man 5, you link them together in a Spider-Verse event, and within that Spider-Man, that multiverse event,
You get the
you
third one.
bring Miles Morales into the MCU,
Oh,
like how the comics, like how in the comics, Miles Morales is from a different universe, right? He's in
yeah.
a universe in the comics, not in the cartoons, not in the comics, in the Ultimate Comics. Peter Parker's dead,
Hmm.
kind of thing, and Miles Morales actually goes into the 616, which is the main, yeah,
Hmm.
comic book
Yeah.
universe kind of thing, where Peter Parker's alive. He's been alive. That comic's been going on since the 60s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Because of the
it's a big thing.
multiverse, because of the Spider-Man multiverse, though, you could potentially do so. I know Sony have said
Yeah,
they're not going to do spin-offs, but you could do so many
yeah. But
spin-offs.
that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Show the audience you have a plan.
Hmm.
Tobey Maguire, leave it to Sam Raimi. Andrew Garfield, well, you could offer it to Mark Webb if he wants to come back. I doubt he would, but you know what I mean? Like, you could find, but most importantly, here's the most important thing, Sony, make them good movies. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, don't give us
don't
something for
just,
the fucking sake of giving us
yeah,
something.
don't give it, because if they're good, that's a guaranteed. How many movies is that I've just mentioned? That's a lot of fucking money on the table.
11 movies?
Potentially. It's $1 billion IP.
Potentially have 10, 11 movies there.
Yeah. So that's
Wow.
like $11 billion.
When you say it like that,
You know what I mean?
mate.
You know what I mean?
How
The
much do you
one,
think the Avengers Doomsday movie? Obviously, Tom Holland hasn't been in any of the trailers.
yeah,
Gonna be in it. He's gonna be in the
probably.
movie.
Maybe he
How
might
much of
not
that
be.
movie will link into what we're gonna see in July with Brand New Day? Will it
Maybe
be
he.
completely separate? Will it not follow on from? Will there be something that at the end of Doomsday, because it goes Doomsday, and then the next movie that we're going to get
Yeah,
is Spider-Man: Brand New Day.
yeah. They're
Will
probably gonna.
Doomsday leave
they're-
us, or will they keep it this universe, that universe?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see.
What are you expecting from Spider-Man: Brand New Day? Are you expecting a fresh kind of like, right? This is the first movie, like you just said. Could this be the first movie of four, for argument's sake?
Uh, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I think, I think it'll definitely be a different kind of spin on it because we got a new director.
Hmm.
It'll be interesting to see what they do, but I think it'll be consistent to what we've been seen before
Yeah.
because it's got to work within what they've already
Yeah, well, the,
established,
the
right?
groundwork
So
that's already been laid. You don't want to just fucking come in and go, right, fuck that, we're
yeah,
doing this now.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, Marvel are, whether you like them or love them, they're pretty consistent at what they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So
it's pretty much a timeline that's never really going to end.
yeah, at this point, so
Yeah.
it'll just be interesting to see what they do
But they've got
post
movies planned up
Doomsday.
until at the minute. They've got one till I think it's up till 2027, 2028.
Yeah.
Stuff's planned. That's no spin-off. That's no spin-offs included. That's purely movies.
Mm.
Which in a way, I think personally, and as much as I love all the spin-offs that they do, and a lot of my friends that I chat to about movies and people that are in our WhatsApp group and stuff,
Yeah,
it's very hard to watch that because if you watch that, you need to have seen that, and if you've seen that, you've got to have known what's gone on in that spin-off, and that spin-off leads to this movie. And I do sometimes miss what me and you said at the start of the show. I sometimes do miss the good old days of here's your movie. 2 years later, you'll get a sequel. Two
yeah,
years
yeah,
after that, you'll get another one. Whereas now you'll get a movie and then they put four spin-offs in the middle of that. And you're like, fuck, they'll throw in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for argument's sake.
yeah,
And you watch every single one of them. And that's kind of going on while the movies are going on, if you see what I
yeah.
mean. And it's very,
Hard
we're
to keep
engrossed.
up.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Yeah,
engrossed in it. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I love
yeah.
it and I try and I can see now from like
Normal person's point of view, they're
yeah,
just going to switch off.
I speak to so many people that are just like, I just want to watch an Avengers movie. I want to watch a Spider-Man movie. I want to
Yeah.
watch a Superman movie. I don't want to watch all these spin-offs. Like a lot
Well,
of people,
this was the really cool thing about what Marvel was like before Endgame. See, it didn't matter which movie you picked up, people could follow it.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there's about a billion other movies beforehand, but they'd always write them in a way where it was a movie first and foremost, rather than
Yep.
an
I agree.
episode
Hmm.
of, MCU. You know what I mean? So you could watch Spider-Man: Homecoming without watching Iron Man.
Yeah.
You could watch the second Spider-Man, No Way Home without watching anything else, really.
Yeah.
You can watch most of those movies stand alone, really.
Mm.
But post Endgame, it's gotten a bit,
Twisted.
yeah, like,
Yeah, you've got to watch this to know what's going on in that.
yeah,
And
and it's really bad.
you've got
It's really
One
bad.
Division, you've got Loki, you've got the
Yeah,
Falcon, you've got so
like
much.
Falcon.
Falcon, I like that spin-off. One Division was my favorite.
Hmm,
Absolutely loved it. The last two episodes combined were pure cinema.
yeah,
Pure cinema.
but my favorite was Loki, to be
Yeah, I
quite
love
honest.
Loki.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Loki was great.
And again, though, but you have to have watched certain things. If you just think, oh, I'm
Yeah,
just going to watch Loki, and you're into it, and you'll be like, I
yeah.
don't really know
I
what's
just
going
think I
on.
just think it's just gotten a bit convoluted with because there's been no set direction in where it's all heading. I think if Kang was in a lot more of these things,
Hmm.
then it would have brought everything together a bit more. They should have put Jonathan Majors in everything, even if he's not doing something with the timeline, put a variant in there. You know what I mean? Doing
Yeah,
some kind of mischief or something. You know what I
I
mean?
got
So
you.
people could be
I got
like,
you.
"Oh, okay, like that's the guy. What's he doing?"
Mm,
You know what I mean? What's this?
yeah.
Because the other thing, the whole thing was once you got it, you're like, "Where's the next stone?" You
Mm,
know what I mean? You're like, where's the next stone? Who's got the stone? And it all became that, and that was the connective glue and tissue across all the
mm.
movies and stuff. Because people are looking for fucking Infinity Stones, whereas now we don't
Yeah.
have that anymore, and it's kind of like
It literally was.
you've gone
For a
one
lot of fans, though,
direction
that
with
was Endgame because
yeah,
a lot of you speak to a lot of people now,
yeah,
quite, they're like, I fucking hate everything Marvel's done since then.
yeah, 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 of
And I
course,
speak to so many people that are like,
yeah,
yeah, I watched Loki or I watched the Captain America, new Captain America
yeah,
movie, but he's not
yeah,
really
and I
Captain
don't blame
America.
him because
And
I'm
you're
one of
like,
those people.
yeah. And I mean, you like we've done our Star Wars shows before, and you're like the original three are the original three, and people are like that through the Star Wars universe. They like it with DC, they like it with Marvel, they like what they like. But when you do tinker with it, you've
Yeah,
got to be very patient and you've got to be very aware that not to judge it on what you've seen already, because if you do, then you're going to be disappointed before you've even sat down and watched any of these shows. I mean, I sit down and watch some of them and I'm thinking, right, clear your mind. This is a whole new arc. What we talk about movie
yeah,
arc all the time. This is a whole new arc. Don't judge it on Endgame, Infinity Wars,
mm,
etc., etc. So, just one other bit of news, Sash, before we get out of here. Stranger Things actress Sadie Sink is set to appear apparently in Spider-Man 4. According
yeah.
to reports in the US, are going to be the mutant Jean Grey from the X-Men. Any thoughts on that, my friend?
I think that's just a rumor. I think she'd be perfect for real Mary Jane.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, we're doing multiverse stuff. She
Mm-hmm.
could be Mary Jane. I mean, well, technically, MJ in the Spider-Man films is not Mary Jane. She's Michelle Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So they even call her Michelle in the
Mm.
films.
Yeah.
So there's two MJs.
Why
Why
not?
not?
It's a good
You
thing
know?
about multiverse. Good thing about
Yeah.
multiverse. Well, my friend, it's been good chatting some Spider-Man with you. Let's see what happens with, like I say, Spider-Man Brand New Day. We've got a little bit of time yet. July the 21st, 2026. It's going to be the build up to the new Avengers movie is going to be incredible. I genuinely can't wait for that movie. I think that's the first. Again, we speak about everything that's gone in between. I think since Endgame until Doomsday come out, there'll be a lot of fans that will pretty much just be like waiting for this Avengers movie to see them all
Mm.
together, albeit Iron Man's not there and he's going to be back somehow in the event. They're not going to not. You're never not going to see Iron Man in a Marvel movie again. It's going to happen. It's a multiverse. Something's going to happen. I'm telling you now, they're not. It's too much money to not have Iron Man somehow. I don't know how they can do it, but they're going to do it. But anyway, Sash, it's been great to sit down, talk some Spider Man with you. This is another episode that we dropped. Like I said at the start of the show, find us on YouTube, Completed It Pod. Find us on X at Completed It Pod. Thanks to everyone that's tuned in and supported us. We're slowly getting this thing rolling now. A lot of people, a lot of my friends and their friends have been messaging me saying how much they love the movie reviews, the chat that we're doing. So Sash, thanks so much for all the time you give up so far to do all these, my man. We'll be back later on in the week with more movie reviews. But like I say, if you want to go and check out our previous shows, go and check out our shows. We've got a big shout out to SCM Therapy as well, who have come on board as a sponsor now as well. There's going to be an advert at the end of this episode, so just go and check them out. Really good company for people suffering with like anxiety and fears and phobias and stuff like that. It's a friend of mine's company, really good company. So go and check them out as well. But Sash, let's do this all again soon, my man. Enjoy yourselves. I know you're working hard there in the world of computing. Keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Cool.
I'll catch you soon. All right, mate. You weren't in the dark this week. That's good.
Yeah. Well, it's daytime.
I know, yeah. We need to do more of these during the day. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Completed It. I've been your host, Andy Burrows. That's been Sasha Alari. Till next time, everybody. Stay safe.
Feeling overwhelmed by the challenges of daily life? Struggling with anxiety, stress, depression, phobias, fears, or just trying to get yourself back again? Discover the transformative power of focused solution hypnotherapy and counseling. Through guided hypnotherapy, relaxation trance allows your subconscious mind to access your inner resources and strengths you didn't know you had. Book your free consultation today and let's start your journey together. For more information, please email Sharon at scm-therapy.me